Have you ever stood in front of a sink full of dishes, looked at your hand, and just sighed? Maybe it's arthritis. Maybe it's a healing shoulder. Maybe it's just that today, you only have energy for half of yourself. But what if I told you, even one hand is enough? In today's video, I want to gently hand you something most cleaning guides never talk about: real ways to clean with less. Not with hustle, not with guilt, but with grace, ease, and a quiet kind of power. These 9 one-handed cleaning hacks are simple, clever, and kind to your body, so you can still feel proud of your home, even on your slowest days. This isn't about pushing through pain. It's about listening to it and choosing better ways. I remember my friend Doris. She was 72 when she fell and fractured her wrist, her dominant hand, of course. For weeks, she could barely open a jar, let alone scrub a counter. But when I visited, I was surprised. Her kitchen was still lovely. No clutter, no overwhelm, just calm. She smiled and said, "I made a game of it. One hand, one room, one little win at a time." She even had this funny trick of dusting picture frames with her sock while waiting for the kettle to boil. I asked her if she ever felt discouraged. "All the time," she said. "But then I remember, I'm not here to impress anyone. I'm here to feel home in my home." This video is for every Doris out there, for the women who adjust, adapt, and still care deeply, even when no one's watching. Let's begin, gently. 1. Pump soap and sponge tray. No squeezing, no spills. You know, there are days when even the thought of doing the dishes feels like lifting a mountain. It's not because we're lazy, it's because our bodies, well, they whisper to us now. Some days louder than others. The wrists ache, the fingers don't want to cooperate, and simple things, like squeezing a bottle of soap, suddenly feel like wrestling a wild animal. I remember one afternoon, I was trying to wash just one mug. I had it in one hand, and with the other, I tried to squeeze the soap bottle. It slipped, knocked over the sponge tray, and before I knew it, there was more mess than before I started. I stood there laughing and almost crying, and I thought, there's got to be a better way than this. That's when I discovered the pump soap and sponge tray. It sounds so simple. Just press your sponge down and the right amount of soap comes up. But let me tell you, when you've got arthritis in one hand and stiffness in the other, this little invention feels like a gift. There's no fumbling, no lifting bottles, no squeezing with hands that are already tired before the day begins. It keeps the sink neat too. No soap puddles, no runaway bottles, just a small, dignified setup that makes you feel like the kitchen is working with you, not against you. I even bought a second one for my laundry sink. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. And that includes the tools we use, especially the ones that meet us where we are, not where we used to be. Because staying clean and organized doesn't have to come at the cost of pain. Sometimes it's these gentle adjustments that make all the difference, not just to our home, but to our peace of mind. Now let's take another quiet step forward, something just as effortless, but with a little extra reach. There 2. One-handed dust mitt. Wipe while you walk. Some days you don't clean the house, you just pass through it. From the kitchen to the bedroom, from the living room to the hallway, maybe with a cup of tea in one hand or a cane in the other. And on those days, bending over with a rag or dragging a heavy vacuum just isn't going to happen. You simply don't have the energy or the balance for that kind of effort anymore. That's where the one-handed dust mitt becomes a quiet little hero. You slip it on like a glove, and suddenly, cleaning doesn't feel like a chore. It feels like a gentle side task. As you pass a table, you give it a soft swipe. As you steady yourself on the stair rail, the dust comes off with it. No need to bend, carry a spray, or switch hands. It's always ready, and it works with your rhythm. I keep mine hanging on a hook near the hallway. Most mornings, when I walk by the entry console or the photo shelf, I take a moment to wipe with a light hand. It takes maybe 30 seconds. But over a week, my shelves look like someone cared for them, because someone did. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. And that includes the routines we build. If it's small, effortless, and brings us peace, it's worth keeping. Because aging doesn't mean we stop taking pride in our space. It means we learn to tend it gently, kindly, and on our terms. Next, let me share a trick that helps you grab what you drop without a single crouch. 3. Stick-handled spray mop. Steer with just a thumb. When you're younger, cleaning the floor is just another task. But after 60, it becomes something else entirely. The bending, the bucket, the wringing, it's not just inconvenient, it's painful. And when you already have arthritis in one hand, or your balance isn't what it used to be, something as simple as mopping can feel like climbing a mountain. That's why I started using a stick-handled spray mop. And I'll tell you this, it changed more than just my floor. It changed my mornings. This little tool, lightweight and upright, lets you clean without the heavy lifting. No more dragging a sloshing bucket across the kitchen. No more squeezing a soaked mop head that never seems to rinse clean. With this spray mop, I simply press a soft trigger with my thumb. Yes, just my thumb. And a gentle mist sprays ahead. Then I glide it forward with one hand. That's it. I use it first thing after breakfast. I don't make a production of it. I don't even change shoes. I walk through the house slowly, mop in one hand, coffee mug in the other. And the feeling it gives, of lightness, of control, of peace, is something I wish I'd given myself years ago. I filled the water tank with a little warm water and a few drops of eucalyptus oil. It makes the whole house smell fresh, like I've opened every window, even on cold days. I can mop the hallway, the kitchen, even under the dining table without moving a single chair. And I don't have to stop to rest, because there's no heavy pushing, no bending, no pain. It's not just about cleaning. It's about being able to move through your home with ease, like it's working with you, not against you. When you're alone or managing pain, small wins like this can mean everything. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. And this little mop, it gives. It gives back freedom. It gives back calm. And it gives back the dignity of doing it yourself without hurting. Let's keep going. The next trick helps you clean your windows or counters without even standing up. Ready? Number 4. Hanging trash bag hook. Tidy trash in reach. You wouldn't think throwing something away could feel so difficult. Until one day, it suddenly does. I remember trying to peel carrots at the kitchen counter. With each peel that dropped, I found myself shuffling between the sink and the trash can, clutching the peels in one hand, wincing each time I bent down. My knees protested, my back ached, and something inside me whispered, there must be an easier way. And there was. One tiny change that made a big difference. A simple hanging trash bag hook. It slips over any drawer or cabinet door and holds a grocery bag wide open. That's it. No more walking across the room, no more bending to open the bin. Now I just peel, chop, wipe, and everything drops directly into the bag right at counter height. I even keep a second hook in the bathroom for used tissues or empty packaging. It makes tidying feel effortless. I'm not wasting energy doing laps around the house or fumbling with lids that never stay shut. I'm simply living, cleaning as I go, without the fight. What I love most is that it gives me back a sense of ease. When you live alone or your body can't do what it used to, the smallest adjustments become acts of self-kindness. This little hook, though modest, is one of those quiet blessings that makes daily life feel more doable. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. And this gives back space, mental space, physical space, and emotional calm. So if you've ever found yourself avoiding tasks just because they feel too tiring or complicated, maybe it's not you, it's your tools. Let's look at the next one. A secret for wiping surfaces with almost no reach at all. 5. Magnetic sponge wand. Grabs with a click. There was a time when I could twist, reach, scrub, no second thought. But now, even something as simple as wiping down the backsplash behind the sink makes my shoulder tighten and my hands cramp. It's not about being lazy. It's about the body saying, slow down. I'm not who I used to be. That's when I found the magnetic sponge wand, and honestly, it felt like a small miracle. It's a lightweight wand, curved just enough to reach awkward corners. But the magic is the sponge itself. It clicks on with a magnet. No tugging, no pinching. Just click it on, swipe the counter, the wall, even the tub edge, then click it off and rinse. What used to be a battle, especially those tight, greasy spots behind the stove or under the soap dish, now just feels like guiding a quiet dance. I don't have to grip hard. I don't have to lean in. I simply steer the wand with a few gentle wrist movements. And when I'm done, the sponge snaps off with one finger. I even have two heads for mine, one for daily wiping and one just for glass. It's clean, calm, controlled. That might not sound like a big deal to some people, but when your joints ache or your strength isn't what it once was, that control means everything. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. And this tool? It gives back peace, pride, and just a bit of independence I thought I'd lost. So if you've ever left a spot unwiped because it just felt like too much, it's okay. We're allowed to adapt. We're allowed to make things easier. And speaking of easier, let's move on to a trick that brings fresh air into the room without even opening a window. 6. Gentle spray bottle with trigger lock. Spritz, not strain. You know what used to surprise me? How something as simple as spraying a window cleaner could make my hands hurt for the rest of the day. I'd grip that plastic trigger, squeeze, 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 and by the time the window sparkled, my knuckles would be throbbing. Doesn't seem fair, does it? To give up our strength, but still be expected to do everything the same way. Then I discovered a gentle spray bottle with a trigger lock, and my goodness, it changed things. This little tool isn't flashy, but it's wise. Instead of having to repeatedly squeeze the sprayer, you just press once to lock it, and the mist keeps coming out in soft, even sprays. It's like the bottle says, "Don't worry, I'll handle the hard part." Now, I use it everywhere. A few spritzes on the bathroom mirror, a light mist over my plants, even just refreshing the air near my chair with a bit of diluted lavender oil. My hands don't tense, my shoulders don't ache. I feel in control again. And you know what's lovely? On days when energy is low, those quiet, heavy days where everything feels just a little harder, I still get to clean, still get to care, just in a gentler way. I once told my daughter, we don't stop cleaning because we don't care anymore. We just need the world to meet us where we are. And this little sprayer? It does exactly that. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. A clean home doesn't have to mean strain. It can mean small, thoughtful acts done with care. And speaking of small, our next tool proves that even the tiniest assist can make a big difference, especially when one hand needs to rest. Let's take a look. 7. Foldable handle grabber. Reach low, stay tall. There's a quiet moment that sneaks up on all of us. You're standing in the kitchen, and a jar lid drops to the floor. Instinctively, you start to bend down, but something in your back whispers, "Not so fast." So you pause, straighten back up, and just stare at it. That tiny lid suddenly feels like it's down at the bottom of a canyon. That was the moment I realized bending wasn't effortless anymore. Not painful necessarily, but no longer simple. And honestly, it felt like a piece of independence slipping away. Then a friend introduced me to the foldable handle grabber. It doesn't look like much. Lightweight, compact, unassuming. But when you unfold it, it's like you've just added an extra arm. One that never complains or gets stiff. One that lets you pick up that lid, the sock under the bed, or the newspaper from the porch, all without leaning forward or risking a wobble. What I love most is how easy it is to store. It folds in half neatly. No clutter, no bulk. And when I walk through the house, I often carry it with me, just in case. Dropped my glasses behind the couch? Done. Need to retrieve the TV remote from under the chair? Done. Even pulling fresh towels from the bottom shelf of the linen closet? Done without strain. These little victories may seem small, but they restore something much bigger: peace of mind. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. And you know what? Tools like this give back to our soul too. Not because they do everything for us, but because they remind us we're still capable of doing things on our own, just in a gentler way. So if you're tired of the daily dance with gravity, maybe it's time to let a grabber help you stand tall without stretching low. Now, speaking of making life easier, let's take a look at a smart little helper that keeps trash tidy, right at your fingertips, without any bending at all. 8. Sink caddy with drain holes. Wash and rest. Have you ever finished washing the dishes, only to realize your sponge is sitting in a puddle of yesterday's water? It's such a small detail, but it's those little things that wear on you when energy is already in short supply. I used to rinse the dishes, wipe down the sink, and then walk away, only to come back a few hours later to that soggy sponge smell. And worse, I'd have to wash the sink all over again because the soap suds left behind had turned into a sticky mess. It felt like cleaning never really ended, just paused. That's when I discovered the sink caddy with drain holes. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But it changed everything. This isn't just a place to toss your sponge. The open bottom design means every drop drains away naturally. No pooling, no moldy smell, no soggy mess. Your scrubbers dry out quickly. Your sink stays clean longer. And best of all, you don't have to do anything extra to make that happen. For someone living alone, this kind of wash and rest rhythm becomes a blessing. You do the task once and it stays done. You don't have to keep circling back, re-cleaning what should already feel finished. It's a little peace of mind tucked in the corner of your sink. I even found one with a soft grip on the sides. No sharp metal edges, no loud clinks. Just quiet, calm function. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. And I believe we also choose tools that give back our time, our ease, and our breath. Because every moment we don't have to redo is a moment we can rest, or read, or enjoy the silence of a home that's finally clean enough. And now that your sink knows how to breathe, let's move just a few feet over to a tool that makes wiping the counter feel like second nature, even if you only have one free hand. Chapter 9. Pocket Apron Organizer. Supplies where you are. There's something quietly frustrating about walking back and forth for the same thing over and over. A bottle of cleaner here, a rag you forgot in the other room, the tiny scissors you just had but put down somewhere. It's not just the time, it's the toll. When your knees aren't what they used to be or your energy comes in waves, these small errands around the house feel bigger. And that's when I realized something my grandmother used to do wasn't old-fashioned. It was wise. She always wore an apron, not a frilly kitchen one, but one with deep, momed pockets. And in those pockets, a folded rag, a pair of reading glasses, a pen, sometimes even a clothespin. Everything she needed for the next 10 minutes of her life. That's the idea behind the pocket apron organizer. Imagine having your go-to cleaner, a pair of gloves, or your phone with a podcast playing, all tucked neatly in front of you. No need to twist or reach. No need to leave the room. It's a cleaning caddy you wear. This simple shift, from walking to get things to bringing things with you, saves so much strain. You feel in control again. You glide from one task to another, not because you have more energy, but because you're not wasting the little you have. And it's not just for cleaning. Sometimes I slip a little lotion or a piece of chocolate in the pocket, just as a reminder that care isn't only something you give to your home, it's something you give to yourself. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. This apron? It gives back by keeping you steady, centered, prepared. Like a quiet companion that says, "You don't have to rush. We've got what we need right here." Now that you've got everything right at your side, let's talk about a final habit. One that isn't about tools, but about how we end the day, with peace. So often, we think of cleaning as something we have to do to earn rest. But what if we flip that thought? What if instead, these small, thoughtful habits were ways our home gently loved us back? Each of these one-handed tricks, these simple shifts, isn't just about being tidy. It's about restoring dignity in a body that might not move like it once did. It's about staying independent without feeling overwhelmed. And most of all, it's about letting go of the pressure to do things the way we used to. You don't need to deep clean an entire house to feel good. Sometimes, wiping one counter with a mitt while you walk by, or clicking a sponge into place with one hand, is more than enough, because it means you showed up for yourself today. That matters. You've probably noticed this too. When our spaces feel calmer, we breathe deeper, we speak softer, we think clearer. The home reflects our mood, but it also shapes it. I remember visiting my friend Alice, who has arthritis in both hands. She smiled as she showed me how she folds laundry directly into a basket she rolls around the house. "I don't fight it anymore," she said. "I just make the house meet me where I am." We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. And that's what this video has truly been about. Not perfection, but comfort. Not chasing youth, but honoring wisdom. You deserve a home that supports you, not one that demands too much. So whether it's a pocket apron or a gentle spray bottle with a trigger lock, let each little tool be a reminder. You've adapted, you've learned, and you're doing just fine. If any of these tips made you feel seen today, I hope you'll leave a comment and share your own gentle shortcuts. Maybe even forward this to someone who needs a little encouragement. And if your home feels just a little softer after this, then we've done something beautiful together. Let's keep making life lighter, one small, loving habit at a time.